Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair.
Hey everybody, Glenn here. Okay, I've had a lot of people on Facebook asking me about doing upgrades to Windows 8 and want to know if their machines could take an upgrade to Windows 8. And I've told you this before, and it all depends on what's in your machine. I've told you you've got to have at least a 1 gigahertz processor, 2 gigs of RAM, at least a 20 gig hard drive, and it can be either XP, Windows Vista, or Windows 7. Any one of those three I can upgrade, depending on if it has what it needs to be able to run it. Now let me show you something. Okay, I've got a processor right here. I want to show you what a processor is. This is what runs your whole machine. This is an AMD Athlon, which is a single core, so it's an older processor. It's still a good one. It would still run if I put in a machine. You know, it would only be a single core machine, but it's still a good one. It would run. This is what runs that whole entire machine. As you can see, there it is right there. And if you look on the back side, you'll see some pins right there. And those pins set down into a socket on the motherboard. And, you know, it's funny because when my wife Michelle first came here from Alaska, I don't know how many of you know the story, but just briefly, she'd been looking for me for about 30 years. She'd see me in the hallways at school, and she tells me she always had a crush on me, because she remembered talking to me in the 3rd grade lunch line. And then 6th grade, Mrs. Whitting's class, I was sick with the chicken pox, and she had a cousin that died from having the chicken pox, and I was out of school for more than a week. And then she got worried because I wasn't back yet. And when I came back to school, she was all happy and excited, and I told her she should have came over and hugged me. She was, I know I should have, I don't know why I didn't. Well, in high school, she still, you know, liked me, and my cousin Vicky talked her out of it, and so that was that. That's okay. All's forgiven. She found me 30 years later, and you know, here we are today. We were married in 2008, but she came back from Alaska. That's where she was living. When she came back, I was building her a desktop, and I wanted her to show how, you know, let her take part in it. And I went ahead and had her try and install the processor. And I told her how to do it. I coached her the whole way. And I told her, once you get it in place, they only go one way. And I showed her which way it has to go. And I told her, when you get it in place, excuse me, I need to get some good rest here. I've been busy lately. So she thought it was in, and she pushed on it and bent some of the pins. Luckily, I was good enough to be able to bend the pins back, and it's still a running machine, still running to this day. She don't have it. A friend of ours has it, and it's still running, so that's a good thing. It was only, I believe it was a single core that we put into it, like this would be. This is an AMD Athlon. There's also Intel's, but I recommend, if you want a new machine, I would recommend going with AMD. AMD is just far better and cheaper in price than an Intel. They're a real good, durable processor. And the one thing about AMD is it's better than Intel is, well, now the new Intels go both ways, but AMD has always been 32-bit and 64-bit. So if you're running an older machine that has AMD in it, I can put a copy of Windows 8 64-bit into that machine. So that's a processor, and that's what it does. It processes all the information inside that machine, and there's different sizes as far as the gigahertz go. This one's at least a 2.0, might even be a 2.1, 2.2, I'm not sure, I don't remember. I'd have to install it into a machine to tell you how big it is. Or I could look it up online by the numbers that are on it, because the process doesn't really tell you what you know, how many gigahertz it is. Wow, it goes all the way back. This was built in 2005. Yeah, it's definitely single core. So that's what a processor is. That runs your whole machine. Okay. All right. Now memory. If you don't have enough memory, you don't have to worry about that, because I can upgrade your memory to give you what you need to run that machine, whether it's desktop or laptop. And I'll show you some memory. I've got two sticks here. One is for a laptop, one's for a desktop. And I'll show you the difference. Alright, this big long stick right here, that is desktop memory. In an older machine, with XP, like between, oh God, I'm sorry about that. I've been working so hard. I need to get some sleep. I've been up late nights working and stuff. And but anyways, from about 2003 till about the end of 2006, your desktop memory came in what was known as PC 2100, PC 2700, and PC 3200. 3200 was the high-end stick. It gave you, you know, if you got up to 2 gigs in that, your desktop could run really good with it. 2007 till about 2 years ago, about 2010, maybe 2009, maybe, they were running what's known as DDR2, and this is okay, give me 1 second here. Okay, yeah, this is DDR2 memory, and this is 800 megahertz. This is a full gig stick. It's 1024, and it is a 6400. Now they had in DDR2, oh God, they had 4200, 5400, 6400, and I think it was 8500. And then 1066. There was a few boards that ran 1066. In order to change memory in your computer, it's not just a simple question of going out and buying, like, you know, a 2 gig stick, throw it in your machine, and it'll run. Because you need to know what the timing of that motherboard is, because there's timing written right here on the back of the memory, and this happens to be 4-4-4-12. So what I would do is, when I'm building a machine for somebody, I look in the book that comes with the motherboard, which manufacturers don't provide, like in a Gateway or a Dell or any one of those. That's a different story. They don't provide you with that information as to what. You might be able to find it online. Never really looked. But with the stuff that I build, I can look up the timing in the book that comes with the motherboard, and it'll tell me what memory will work on that motherboard. This may fit the board, but doesn't mean that it's going to run, because that timing has to be right. You know, think of a car, right? Remember when you used to, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, I think they still do today, but do a little different. Remember you had a timing belt, and yet it had to be timed just right or the car wouldn't run or run right. Kind of the same concept in a computer. If it's not the right timing, then the memory will not work, the computer will not fire. So this is a full gig of DDR2. Now they're using DDR3. And the memory's running a lot higher now than just 4200, 5400, 6400, 8500, 1066. Now it's going as high as, oh God, what is it? It's like 2054, I think. It's running really high now. So it's still the same concept. You have to look at the timing. You have to know what your timing is to know if the memory will work. Because not every stick of memory, like I said, will work in a given machine. So that's desktop memory. And now now you'll see the difference. That's desktop memory. Here's a stick of laptop memory. Look at the size difference in the two. Look how much smaller laptop memory is. Now, in a desktop, most desktops, depending on the age of it, how new it is, how old it is, some only had 2 slots for the memory and some have 4. If it only ran 2 slots, the most you could run in it is 2 gigabytes. The newer machines today that have 4 slots can run all the way up to my big machine, which is right here. Let me just, okay, this is my big machine right here. This machine right here has 16 gigabytes of memory, so it's got 4 gig sticks in it, which brings it as 4 times 4 is 16, right? So that's what it's running, is 16 gigabytes of memory. So you know, a lot of machines can take the 16 gigabytes because you have 4 slots. It's just a question of getting the right memory. Your laptops only have 2 slots in them, and you can run up as much as a total of 8 gigs in a laptop right now. That could change if they change the memory and make higher amounts in 2 gig sticks. I mean, in a stick. Maybe they could make you know, an 8 gig stick, and then you could run 16. I don't know. They haven't done it yet, but that's laptop memory right there. Oh God. Same concept. It does have a timing on it. And this happens to be 444-11 is the timing on it. This is 512 megabytes of PC2. So there again, you want to make sure everything matches. You can't just throw it in there and expect the computer to fire up. And the same thing would work with a Mac too. I'm not familiar with Macs, but I do know that a Mac can run same laptop, well, you know, same memory in a laptop or a desktop. But I would imagine it must be the same because it's all your Macs have Intel processors in them. So I don't know what they're running for boards, but I know the same thing holds true for that. The timer would have to match that board in order for it to run. You can't just throw memory in it and expect it to run. So there's your laptop memory right there. So if your laptop does need memory, now I just bought 4 gigs of laptop memory the other day, and I installed it in the laptop and fired it right up, and only had, well, it originally had 1 gig in it. I upgraded it to 2.5, and it ran better, but once I bumped it to 4, now it runs real nice. So that was good. So I ordered the memory. The memory was 45 for the memory. So I can upgrade your laptop to more memory so that you're running what it needs to be able to run Windows 8. The more memory you have, the better it's going to run. So, you know, I wouldn't just settle for the minimum of 2 gigs, because that's right on the borderline of what Windows 8 can run. It'll run okay, but you're better off having either 3 or 4 gigs. Now, in a 32-bit system, the most a 32-bit operating system will recognize is 3 gigs. You will not find a 32-bit operating system with 4 gigs of memory. It only recognizes 3. So if you try and put in 4 gigs, it's only going to show us 3 gigs. That's all it'll handle. A 64-bit system can handle any amount of memory, as high as it'll go, because you can now get, I've seen 32 gigabytes of memory, and I think I have seen it as high as 64. So you can run any amount in a 64-bit machine. 64 bits more powerful than 32. You know, the more you have, the better you're off having. Hard drive. I can change a hard drive out if you need. If you need more space, if you don't, you know, if you're one that, I run into a lot of people that have computers with a lot of stuff and a lot of junk, a lot of pictures, a lot of music, some videos. The more you put in that thing, now you're filling up space on a hard drive. If you've got less than a 500 gigabyte hard drive, I'd be real careful what you're putting in the machine. Don't go loading it up. You're better off having like me. If you look right up here, I've got an external hard drive right here. That's a 6 terabyte Western Digital. That's where I put all my stuff. I don't keep it on my machine, and I've got one here on my bench. There's a 320 gigabyte. This is what I use when I'm working on someone's machine. I'll transfer the stuff to this, then I transfer it back onto their machine, and that way I do what I need to do. So, all right, let me show you. I've got right here, I've got a hard drive in my hand. This is a desktop hard drive. This is a 500 gigabyte hard drive. This is a Seagate. This is a 7200 RPM, which is good. You want a 7200 RPM or faster. These are the most cost effective. You can usually get, I can usually get a 7200 RPM in the, you know, 50 to 70 something dollar range, depending on the size of it. If you get into a 10,000 RPM, those can run up into the 200s. So 7200 is a good hard drive. They run decent. They're you won't have any issues with it being slow or anything. So this is what I recommend: is a 7200 is the norm that most machines have in them, unless you're running a tablet, or maybe some of your laptops now have a solid state hard drive in them. But those are still way too expensive right now. But they run really fast. So this is a 500. This is okay. This is adequate to run in Windows 8. You can put some stuff on this. I still wouldn't load it up. And then here's a mobile hard drive right here. And let me show you the size of this. There's a mobile hard drive out of a laptop. And you can see the size difference, right? Quite a bit of difference in thickness as well. Look at the thickness in these two hard drives. Because it would have to be, this is in a laptop, it would have to be thin in order for that to fit, you know. Now this one here, I believe, is a 250. Yeah, this is a 250 gig hard drive. Most laptops, and that's what this is a 5400 RPM. You can get a 7200 RPM. I put them in my laptops all the time. If I upgrade them, I do 7200. But 54 is most of what you find in a laptop for RPMs. It's okay. It runs good in a laptop. It's not bad. And like I said, this is a 250 gig, so this would be adequate. This would run Windows 8 okay. So if you want to upgrade to Windows 8, I can upgrade your hard drive as long as it's got, you know, XP in it. That would be a IDE hard drive, where they call it a PATA, P-A-T-A, and then these are what's known as a SATA hard drive, S-A-T-A, and the difference is if you look right here, you'll see these like flat pins. On an IDE hard drive, they've got solid round pins that stick out where these flat ones are. And then as far as plugging in, see, this has got right here some more flat pins. These are your power. Right here that powers the hard drive. On a ID hard drive, it would have a 4-pin Molex connector like this. This would plug into the hard drive to give it its power. So like it would plug into the side right here, right next to where it connected. In a laptop, no, in a laptop it wouldn't. In a laptop it would be similar to this, but where these flat pins are, it would have the solid pins, the round pins that stick out. So I can do that for you. So if you want to upgrade to Windows 8 till the end of the month, the 31st, it's $39.99 for Windows 8 Pro. My price to install that is free right now till the end of the month. So if you want a copy, if you'd like your computer upgraded to Windows 8, I can most certainly do that for you. It's only going to be the $40 price for the operating system, and I will not charge to install it right now. So if you want the whole brand new operating system, like you've seen my videos, it's really nice. People are getting it left and right. Microsoft has already sold over 60 million licenses so far. So they're doing they're doing better than they thought they would with it. So I can definitely upgrade it, whether if it's XP, Windows Vista, or Windows 7. And be prepared to, if I tell you it needs either a bigger hard drive or more memory, I can definitely do that. That would, there will be a charge for that, and to install that, it would cost, my fee for installing that. But as far as installing the operating system, that's free right now to the end of the month, same as till the 31st. The same as Windows 8 is on sale right now till the 31st, and Microsoft bumps it up. My price goes back up to installing. If I do an upgrade, it's $50. If I do a full install, it's $100. So that's it. All right, everybody. Well, I'm out of here. I have more work to do, and I'll talk to you guys later. See everybody.
The last one to know, the last one to show, I was the last